Hello there. What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about pre-orders. I'm actually going to be going over Legion pre-orders a lot, but I think this could really apply to just about anything. So we're going to be asking the question, should you pre-order? Or if you have pre-ordered already, is it worth it to keep that pre-order? Or should you cancel your pre-order in light of some new things that have kind of come out, especially related to COVID-19 and delays? So with that being said, I do want to remind you guys there is still time to enter to win the latest round of the giveaway, which actually just started up. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. You can enter to win a $25 Amazon gift card. So just click that subscribe button. And if you want to click the bell to follow and you don't miss any new content as that comes out, you can do that too. All right, so pre-ordering from Fantasy Flight Asmodee has definitely been a thing that I feel like there's been a push for lately in the past 6 to 9 months. No, not 69 months, but 6 to 9 months, a Madagascar reference. Anyway, but yeah, so it's definitely been something they've done a push for. I feel like they've been wanting us to pre-order that from them for quite a while, and they've been getting a little bit more pushy and a little bit more aggressive with that. It kind of started a long time ago with X-Wing, kind of putting out some little promo, alternate art stuff, and some, like special damage decks if you pre-ordered and things like that. And then I think there were some prints that came out with Legion if you got your core set, if you pre-ordered directly from Fantasy Flight. And there's always been kind of a reluctance to do that. It used to be that shipping was real expensive from Fantasy Flight. It was also that maybe you weren't supporting your local game store, or maybe that if you ordered from Asmodee or Fantasy Flight, I mean, one and the same really. There's two separate web interfaces, but it used to be that if you order from them, you're paying full MSRP. So a lot of times local game stores tends to have at least a slight, there's a certain amount of a discount they're allowed to give you, and so you might save 10% if you order from your local store, and on top of that you're also supporting your local store and also supporting the place that maybe you're going to play the game. So there's a whole bunch of opinions on whether or not you should pre-order. But I want to talk about the whole pre-order process a little bit in light of new things. So part of Asmodee's push to get people to pre-order directly from them, was in one thing, they kind of removed shipping cost on pre-orders. So that was kind of a big deal. It's like, hey, look, you pre-order this $20 expansion, you don't have to, spend over $100 to get the free shipping. We'll just ship it for free. So that was kind of one incentive, but it's still necessarily not enough, right? Because by itself, because hey, if I pre-order from my local game store, I also don't have to pay shipping. So that was kind of just breaking even, at least on one front. But then they came out with the parts replacement program, and that one really incentivized pre-orders or ordering from Asmodee or FFG directly, not even necessarily pre-orders, but any purchase directly from them. Because when something is defective, and it happens, they now said that you have to go back to your store. And a lot of stores have just said, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to, give everybody credit or have, for every stormtrooper I want to buy, I have to buy another stormtrooper and then, replace with somebody else because something is missing a part or a gun is bent or whatever. And I understand there was some abuse. It was a system that was almost too good, but now they put so much of the burden on the local game stores, and it made it so hard for people to be able to get replacement parts now. And it's where some stores aren't even honoring it, and they can't. So where it's the only way you can actually still get that same level of customer support and replacement is if you had ordered from Asmodee directly, because that's the only way that it's still covered under the old system, because Asmodee was your retailer, so of course they will fulfill the replacement or the whatever kind of problem you have with the product. And so that was a big push to say, hey, you should order from us directly. Now, of course, they want you to order from them because, hey, if you order directly from them, you're still paying MSRP, so full price. But when the basic logistics of it in very, very simple terms, and I'm not a logistician for all of this stuff, but basically I've got this $100 box, this game, and it's going to be sold in stores. Well, I have to, I'm going to sell them to a distributor, and the distributor is then going to sell them to the stores. So there's a whole bunch of middlemen before it gets there. And so I make a whole lot more money if you order directly from me because now I don't have to pay all those other people in the chain. I don't have to pay the distributor. I don't have to pay nobody else gets a cut of that full price. And so they can afford, that's how they can easily afford to do free shipping and all this other stuff, because they're saving so much. Somebody once told me that there's something, the cost was around however much it's going to cost you to make a game, you need to charge MSRP 5 times what what your actual cost is going to be, because of all those retailers. So it's like they're able to get away with these ridiculous kind of offers, because they really want you to pre-order from them. So, and I understood that. But then the other thing is, I used to pre-order from Fantasy Flight a long time ago. I started doing it because you could get things a little bit early. They would ship it to where they made sure you would get it by release day, but as a result, a lot of times I would get stuff a day or two before release day. And that was really cool, because I am in the business of doing unboxings and getting you guys reviews and getting you guys early looks at stuff. And one of the reasons I do that is because I found it helpful when I was starting out, because I wanted to see, what maybe a B-Wing for the X-Wing game looked like before I bought it. I wanted to see what cards came in it before I bought it. I wanted to see, a close-up look at it before I bought it. Or maybe I couldn't afford something and I just wanted to take a close-up look at it anyway. So it was a great way for me to kind of preview stuff, and that's kind of one of the things that I carry on and do for you guys. And so pre-ordering from FFG got me stuff a couple days early, which I was really excited about. Well, now they've started, I would say now, but I would say late last year, they started changing that pre-order process to where now if you had pre-ordered from them, you would get stuff way early, almost a whole week early. If something was going to come out that Friday, you might get it as early as that Monday before. So 4 or 5 days possibly early, which was really, really cool. And it was a cool thing for me. And I used to tell people, because some people would ask me, hey, what's your secret? How do you get stuff early? And I would tell you, hey, I just pre-ordered from Fantasy Flight. And there's a trade-off with that, because you're not supporting your local game store. So one of the things that I would do is, because especially a lot of games that we play, you want to buy lots of stuff. Hey, how many droids do I want? How many core sets do I want? How many Death Troopers do I want? So I'd only order one of something from Fantasy Flight, and I'd order all my extras and all my hobby supplies and all that other stuff from the local game store. So I'd get my glue and my primer and my paints, and then all the duplicate, the second set of Tauntauns, the extra Wookiees, and all that other stuff from the local game store, and just getting the first one of each thing from Fantasy Flight. And so that was kind of a way for me to kind of split up my support, as well as also get stuff early. And that kind of worked out really, really well. And so I was kind of really pleased with the direction that they were going for a little while, which was, hey, pre-orders are going to get stuff early. Well, that kind of happened, and then the AAT didn't ship with the wave that it was supposed to, even though I had it pre-ordered, and they kind of changed my pre-order and just took it out of there, even though I pre-ordered everything all at the same time. And there were some problems with, if you pre-ordered a whole bunch of stuff and one thing wasn't there, and you're oh, you know what, I had some things get delayed because I didn't pre-order them one at a time, and so that was a big, a really kind of an annoying aspect of things. So now, one of the things that I do is I've got to pre-order everything individually. Even if there's a whole wave of stuff and it's all on the same page, every single item has to be its own pre-order now, and that means I'm wasting boxes and stuff, because if one thing is delayed, I don't want the whole wave to be delayed. But there's been some new stuff. So I know I've kind of talked about the history of everything for this point, but there's basically problems now. So COVID-19 hit, obviously. You guys are everybody's aware of this. But one of the things Fantasy Flight said, hey, they said, hey, all of our new stuff that was supposed to come out in April is kind of pushed back till May, and then with everything getting delayed even further, they said, all right, May's stuff is going to be pushed back to late May. And they changed the release dates for a lot of this stuff. Some of the stuff isn't coming out until late May at the earliest. Maybe not even May. Maybe June. Maybe July. Some stuff is pushed back all the way up until September. Your Clan Ren and your Inferno Squad and Arc Troopers. All that stuff is pushed back, to much later in the year now. And even these 4 expansions, we've got Iden, Cassian, the AAT, and Vital Assets, which were supposed to have been out already. They have been pushed back until late May, and so they're still not fulfilling pre-orders on these yet. The problem is they're all over the place. So here's where we get into some really interesting stuff here. They have apparently, and I'm really just basing this off of what everybody's saying and emails that I get from retailers and distributors, and a lot of people in the channel and some in the know email me stuff. So basically, here is what it looks like. at first, apparently FFG had started to ship some stuff out, and then they had to kind of put a hold. So some people got some of this product before they had to change the release date and said, hey, whoa, 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 whoa. Like they shipped it to retailers and I said, whoa, 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 hey, don't sell this yet. We have to change the street date. Well, those retailers were hurting, so they said, screw it, I'm selling it anyway. I get that, and I'm not. I have a hard time really harping on retailers for doing that because, hey, if it means your store is going to close or your store is going to survive, you got to do what you got to do. And I certainly these are tough times, and I also recognize that we're facing a global pandemic, so concerns over plastic toys are very minimal. I totally get that, but that's what I talk about. So that's what I'm talking about today. So I don't want you guys to think that I'm like complaining that this is the end of the world. It's just a little inconvenience, really. At the end of the day, my family's healthy, and that's really the most important thing, and that should be the most important thing. But once we get past all that other stuff, we want to argue about the minutia. We can talk about this, right? So some people got their stuff early. Now, this is a totally separate issue from everything that's going on in Europe because apparently Asmodee for the rest of the world is different than Asmodee North America, and they play by a completely different set of rules because Europe has had a history of getting stuff on a totally different timeline than North America does. And same thing with Australia, and like different parts of the world have a completely different release schedules, which is also kind of frustrating too. When you know that they're aiming for global releases and they're telling people that you can't sell this stuff until a certain date, and you're seeing all of this this effort, and it just completely falls apart, and it's been falling apart on so many releases for over the past year. I feel like it's just getting worse and worse and worse. So going back to these 4 expansions here that have kind of got shipped out and then were like stopped and halted, my first basic complaint is, okay, well, if you started shipping them out to retailers, how come you hadn't shipped out pre-orders before that? Like, what should have happened is all 4 of these expansions, if you had pre-ordered, those should have been fulfilled before that was certainly the trend. Like, that's their angle to get you to pre-order is, hey, you'll get stuff early. Right? I don't care about the free shipping because I'm not going to pay shipping if I get it from my local game store. And I don't care about the fact that I'm paying full price because I'm going to get a discount at my local game store. And I'm still going to support my local game store. So wouldn't I rather get it from my local game store? Wouldn't you rather support your local game store? So like that's generally the thing. The main catch or the main hook of pre-ordering from Asmodee or Fantasy Flight was that you would get it early. And so why weren't pre-orders fulfilled before they started shipping it to stores? So that's an interesting question. And one that I'm probably not going to get an exact answer to, but that's okay. Letting that go. Now is where we get to today. Here we are months after the fact. These are still showing up. There are still retailers selling these on their personal websites, on their smaller websites. There's eBay retailers that are selling it with massive stocks. There's people that have sold over 60 tanks already. So there's like massive people selling these in bulk. And it's kind of crazy. So much so that if you go to the Legion Discord or Legion Facebook group or whatever, you're going to be overwhelmed by how many people have had these and have them painted for months. I feel like there's almost to the point where there's more people that have them than don't have them. And the really interesting thing is the reason for this, and sources are telling me, and I've heard from a couple of people that they're still sending them to retailers. Still as of May 2020, that they're sending them out in small batches. They're like, oh, here's some, here's a shipment, here's a shipment, here's a shipment. Like little at a time. And stores are, instead of going through Alliance, basically that it's not going through the distributor and the normal channels, instead of going through Alliance, Fantasy Flight for retailers that can order from Fantasy Flight directly are actually still able to get those. Which is weird that it's, being handled on such a small scale, but from what I understand is that the warehouse is kind of empty right now at, in Minnesota, that they're not able to, everybody's working from home and stuff. And so I understand that. But if you're sending out shipments, and again, it could be that a lot of people are just lying, but it seems pretty likely, considering just how many people have these, that they are continually selling them and fulfilling orders to retailers who are ordering from Fantasy Flight directly. So I guess my question is, if you're continually selling or to retailers to sell, why haven't you fulfilled a single pre-order? Right? That's really my question. So it kind of throws into doubt the entire prospect of pre-ordering, and makes me wonder if I should, if I should cancel my pre-orders. And if for all of you guys wondering, I'm wondering, let me know in the comments section if you've had a pre-order with Fantasy Flight for any of these items, if you've canceled and bought it elsewhere, because you can buy it elsewhere now. There's lots of places where you can buy them, and they're showing up all the time. So, that's really the most interesting thing about this. And so it makes me wonder, is pre-ordering even worth it anymore? Now, I'm sure this whole situation will change at some point once this pandemic calms down, once things get back to normal, once the supply chains are running as normal again, or as normal as they can be. It'll be interesting to see how things change. But for right now, my big question is, why are you sending retail orders and not fulfilling pre-orders? There can't, could it be that there's just so many pre-orders that it's like this massive, like you actually have more people ordering directly from Fantasy Flight than ordering from retailers? Like, could that be the case? Because I doubt that. I doubt that very much, but again, we'll just have to see, because that just it baffles me that they wouldn't honor pre-orders, especially when they would want people to order directly from them. It just makes sense. Why would you prioritize having middlemen, and having a supply chain that you have to pay everybody in the chain to get it to the store and make less money, when you have people lining up and buying from you directly, and then not fulfill those pre-orders? That's the thing I just don't understand. I'm really curious what is going on with everything, and if that's going to be the standard from now on. Are pre-orders going to be fulfilled last? And I'm going to keep my pre-orders in with Asmodee for this, because one of the things that I do is I kind of relay the news. So when pre-orders do start shipping, I'll be able to bring that to you guys. It won't really be big news though, because if you want to see what's in the Iden, Versio, Cassian, and/or AAT or Vital Assets packs, those are all over the place. And so you can find those everywhere. I'll be one of the last people to bring you an AAT unboxing or a video, but I'll still do it because that's what I do, and I like to stay consistent. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. It's just a very confusing situation, and really makes me wonder if this is going to be the norm moving forward. I'd love to hear from you guys, though. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Big thanks to my supporters on Patreon. You guys are absolutely amazing. I could not do this without you. A big thanks to you guys. Also, big thanks to everybody who has been supporting the channel by clicking links in the description below. There's merch down there, as well as other links to follow me on social media. You guys are awesome, so thank you so much for that. And as always, have a great day.